So here we have a husband, a man, making these accusations of the woman. Let's see what happens if they're false or if they're true. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. The tokens of the virginity is, as you're going to see in the next verse, referring to her clothing or the sheets. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hates her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all of his days. Put her away means to divorce her. That's the phrase that was used. Now, there's a lot going on here. So, what it's really saying now, a man is saying, hey, I married your daughter, she's not a virgin. Look, the father then says, okay, let me take the evidence, let's find out. Takes the sheets, takes it to the city elders. There's blood, which means she was a virgin. Okay?
Wrong. It does not mean that she's a virgin. It is possible that she can have intercourse and not break the hymen.
You might be thinking all sorts of thoughts. Well, this is silly. Why would a guy then make up this lie? Why wouldn't the guy, he could come up with false evidence and give these kind of clean sheets or all this kind of nonsense?
Yeah. And why wouldn't that happen? Interesting. You just block all that out, huh?
Listen. The whole point of this law, okay? The whole purpose of this law, atheists especially, because you like to make fun of the law of the Old Testament of God. What was the purpose of this law?
Well, I think I got a pretty good idea. Yeah.
Think. Use that thing that you like to idolize, your brain.
I'm thinking. I'm idolizing that brain. I don't think you do, though.
And use it for a second and think. Why would this law have been given in the first place? Go ahead, think. Have you figured it out yet? Atheists, do you know anything about history? Do you know anything about ancient civilization, especially in the land of Judea and the ancient Jews? Do you know what a dowry was? Do you know what a dowry was?
Why, yes, I do. But I'm guessing you're going to explain it to me.
Okay, a dowry was kind of like a prenuptial agreement between the two marrying families, okay? The bride's parents and her family and the groom's parents.
The mohar, the price of the bride. Well, isn't that property? So right there, basically it's admitting that the wife is property, isn't it?
And they would come up with what's called a dowry. If a man were to divorce a woman, because the women couldn't really divorce back then, there was...
That's right. She was worth property. Oh, I don't know how you're going to connect morals to this. Your morals are disgusting.
One or two occasions given in the law that a woman could just leave freely without dowry, but she was not entitled to dowry if she could leave that way. But a man...
Oh, come on, man. You're telling me that your all-knowing God couldn't come up with a better system? All-knowing? You're not doing so well here, pal.
Had to pay dowry if he divorced her, with the exception of a few occasions too. A man had to pay dowry. What is dowry? Dowry actually acted as protection for women. What the dowry was before they got married, the parents would agree, okay, if this man divorces my daughter, you need to give her X amount of dollars or property or farmland or whatever. Because she needs to be able to survive. Because then, once she's divorced and put away, that's what the term was used, she would have not been seen as valuable. Nobody else would want to marry her because men really wanted to marry virgins. Well, she wasn't a virgin at that point. So, how is she going to be taken care of when her family and parents die and the inheritance goes to her brothers, if there are any brothers or whatnot? If she has nothing to inherit, how's she going to live? Because back then a woman couldn't really work. There wasn't anybody hiring women. So ultimately, the only way a woman could survive if she wasn't married, if she didn't have a father or brothers to take care of her, was she was left with no other option but to go to the streets and be a prostitute.
See, now, don't you think it would have been a little bit easier if God would have just made a law that said you should marry non-virgins too? Come on. He couldn't have made a law like that?
So this dowry, which is given in the Jewish culture, was actually used as a protection for the women to try and prevent that from ever happening. So, let's say a man suddenly doesn't like the woman he just slept with, or doesn't like this woman he's just got married to. What's going to happen is he's going to come up with this lie and say, hey, she's not a virgin. Therefore, he can try and escape paying the dowry.
Seriously? You're going to tell me protection for women? You just got done saying that it was the husband divorcing her. Amazing. You're all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful, all whatever, God, blah, blah, blah. Can't come up with some way besides making it very dangerous, especially for a woman that didn't have a hymen at all. He created her that way too, by the way. And makes it so that they have to go into prostitution. I mean, he couldn't have created a better system than that. He couldn't have created better laws back then. He knew what was going to happen. He knows everything. So tell me why this is so good. You're really losing this battle, my friend. Well, with me anyway. Maybe you got some other people convinced, but certainly not. You certainly don't have me convinced at all that this God is moral. He is not more moral than we are. Oh, maybe than you, he might be.
So the whole purpose of this law is to prevent the guy from lying and getting out of the marriage without paying his dowry that he promised to pay if he leaves her or puts her away. That's all this is basically saying. If you think, atheists,
I am thinking. Come on.
Think about it in context. That's what the purpose of this law was, and it served a pretty good purpose.
It served a good purpose. What? Making it so that the wife could never leave him because she'd be in the street? Oh, it's just funny. The reason is probably because the patriarch back then didn't really want women to have bastard children. That was basically it, because they wanted to get their bloodline moved on, especially the royalty. So you see, that's kind of where I think that the book came from, is from the royalty. Not from a peasant like you. But keep believing what you want. It's a book made for a hierarchy system, and that's, you're one of the sheep. Well, you're supposed to be.
So, go to the next verse. So then, well, wait. So first you might be thinking, okay, so now she's forced to marry and stay with this liar. She's forced to stay with this guy. She's forced to stay. He only pays 100 pieces of silver. She's stuck with him for the rest of her life. This creep who hates her, who doesn't love her.
Well, actually, she is. If he doesn't want to divorce her, she would be stuck with him. No, my friend, I don't think you understand what it was like in ancient times. You're just making crap up. You've committed the Texas sharpshooter fallacy many times already today. There's about 9 minutes or something like that left in this video. And basically he's just talking about the same nauseating crap, basically. It's not even worth going into it anymore, because it's just, all I'm doing is arguing over the same thing. And you're sitting there trying to push this narrative that the morals in the Bible should be good because, well, whatever. Well, your God's supposedly non-changing. There's plenty of verses that say that too in there. But he changed. The morals changed. Our morals changed. We don't have those same morals. No matter how you paint it. We don't do that to women anymore. And we shouldn't do that to women anymore. They are human beings, just like both you and I. But you're so caught up in this whirlwind of what you call the Holy Spirit that you can't even see people for what they really are anymore. You don't even have empathy with them. You just isolate yourself. That is the problem with it. That is something you should be aware of. I will leave a link in the description for those of you willing to watch his garbage, but that's all I have for now. An atheistic snail's journey. I'd like to thank her for this opportunity to help out with this collaboration. I am honored and I had fun. See you, Cleveland.
Again, the whole purpose of this law was to stop men from even marrying women in the first place.